We are inching towards the first official day of summer, which is my favorite season, and June is probably my favorite month of the year. There's just so much potential left with the warm weather. Where we live, it stays warm almost all the way through the end of October. It gets a little dicey, but it stays pretty much predictably warm all the way through the end of October. And so there's just so much potential left, so much more growing and flowers blooming and farmers markets, and so much to enjoy for the rest of the year ahead of us. I have a small, sort of quick sewing project going in the sewing room this week. As the weather has been warming up, I have been realizing that I need more pairs of shorts, and there has been this pattern from Matchy Matchy Sewing Club called the Weekend Chore Short that I have been wanting to try out. It has an elasticated waistband and some really big side pockets, and so that is what we are working on in the sewing room this week. For those of you that follow me for sewing content, I will give you a quick glimpse of this pattern. I am sewing a size medium. It fits me really, really well. And I am making it out of the Robert Kaufman Essex Linen Blend. And I really like this weight and feel for shorts. I had already mentioned that this pattern is from Matchy Matchy Sewing Club. It is called the Weekend Chore Short. And the spoiler alert before we get to the part where I actually show what it looks like is that I absolutely love these shorts. I'm thinking I have a whole stack of Robert Kaufman Essex linen, and I am thinking that I am going to have to make at least one more pair, if not more, because I have been wearing these basically every single day since I've made them. As I have been sewing more and growing more in the garden and just learning more skills, I talk about that a lot around here, that I am a young homemaker trying to just learn a lot of the traditional skills. And as I have been doing that, I have been kind of thinking a lot about the value in getting close to something. And so what I mean by that is the value of learning the skill and kind of getting close to what it means to make a pair of shorts or grow food or make a sourdough loaf of bread. Because I think a lot of times, at least for me, whenever I got close to something or I learned a new skill or I just learned more about something, I realized it was a lot more work than I had thought. And it has, honestly, this is probably something that is kind of embarrassing to confess, it has slowed down my consumption, because you realize that there's been a lot of work put into this and wasting is not okay, whether it be with clothes like fast fashion or with food, letting it go to waste, letting it get thrown away, or letting it spoil. There's just too much work put into them from so many people to let stuff go to waste. And so that has been something that I have been constantly reminded of as I learn more and more traditional skills and just get closer and closer to the things that were once really foreign to me, the process of how they were made. This is how the shorts turned out. You will see them a lot on this channel because I love them so much. So if you're looking for an easy summer short with huge pockets, I definitely recommend this pattern. Once I wrapped up sewing up those shorts, we needed to get out in the garden to transplant some seedlings. So I had started some stuff inside and it was finally time to get it in the ground, which is one of my favorite things to do, is plant new little babies and watch them grow. So we have some zinnias going in the ground, and then in a couple weeks, I will be planting the whole other side of the garden. So hopefully tons of flowers throughout the summer months. What you're hearing is the last bit of the cicadas, and what you're seeing is our beautiful gomphrena plants and basil plants that desperately needed to be pruned. So me and my daughter went outside and picked tons of basil to come inside and make pesto later in the week. Once we got all the basil pruned back, we went inside to start working on dinner for the evening. Now, before I talk to you guys about this meal, I want to talk to you guys about what I did with my basil. So I don't have any clips of that, which is a bummer, but basically what I did is I stored them just like a cut flower. So I just put them in a vase and made sure all of their stems were in water, and they perked up really quickly and lasted so long. So I didn't know that. I don't know if that's common knowledge, but don't store your basil in the fridge. It lasts so much longer if you store it like a cut flower. And then we just had tons of it, and so it actually looked really pretty on our countertop as well. Okay, back to our dinner. So we are making mashed potatoes, green beans, and steak. We are not a big meat and potatoes family, but when we do, it feels like such a indulgence. And my husband saw a TikTok of someone cooking some ribeyes in their uni, and he really wanted to try it out. So if you are new around here, we have a pizza oven that we love to cook in more than just pizzas. So that is what we are going to have going for dinner tonight. I do want to quickly talk to you guys about how I make mashed potatoes dairy-free, because as you guys know, I am dairy-free outside of butter, but you can just always flip-flop dairy-free butter. I use chicken broth to thin them out, and they are actually really flavorful and yummy. Obviously not as good as cream, but still really, really good. These are the things that I romanticize and look forward to all year about summer. Running out barefoot with my daughter to pluck fresh herbs that we grew, cooking steaks on the uni, warm weather perfect for being outside, and daylight until 9 p.m. Later in the week, we had people over for a Saturday afternoon lunch, and so I decided to make a chicken pesto pasta with roasted tomatoes because we have, as you can see to the left, so much basil. So the first thing I am doing is just getting my chicken started in the Instant Pot. This time I am using chicken breast, just salt, pepper, and a little bit of water so the Instant Pot can come to pressure. And then I am just gonna cook it for probably 10 to 12 minutes based on how thawed I had it. So I think this particular time I was cooking it for about 11 minutes. While that was coming to pressure and cooking, I wanted to get the pesto started. So pesto is super easy to make if you've never made it. It is just a lot of basil, olive oil, some kind of nut. They recommend pine nuts, but I didn't have any, so I used walnuts and garlic. One thing that I do is make my pesto with half spinach and half basil, just to give it a little bit more, like to stretch it a little bit more, because if you've ever made it, you know it takes so much basil. And even with the huge amount that we had, we did not have enough for the amount that I needed. So we just stretched it a little bit with spinach. This meal is a summertime staple in our house. Me and my husband both look forward to basil season all year so that we can have pesto. This year, I think I'm going to try and freeze some. TBD on that. But once the chicken was done, we just pulled it out of the Instant Pot and shredded it. And then I started getting the pasta ready to go. I love to cook with einkorn pasta just because it's easy to digest and a little bit better for you. And so we got that ready and got tomatoes in the oven, and all the flavors come together so well and are so yummy. As always, I hope this video was inspiring to you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. Have an amazing summer week, friends, and I will see you guys here next week.